Hey there, guys. It's your boy McMix. So, wow, I did not expect that. My previous video on Miura's assistant and their tweets about whether the series is going to continue literally blew up. I've never seen anything like this in my channel. Well, I guess I was the first one to really cover this, so I guess that's why. But in this video, I wanted to do something a little bit different. Regardless of what they're going to do, and I think we should let people grieve. I don't think people should tweet at them and try to contact them and tell them, oh, you should continue or not. I told you my opinion on this in the previous video. If they want to do it, cool. If not, that's okay as well. But in this video, I really want to try and think of a perfect scenario, of a way that we can satisfy as many people as we can with the situation that we have in our hands. And I saw some amazing comments in my previous video, and I think you guys really nailed it. I think a lot of you guys who commented gave some really interesting views and ways we can fix this, or the Studio Gaga assistants can fix this. I think they should almost rename the series, like admit that the core series, Berserk, ended with Miura's death, and then make a sort of continuation manga, where they retain the same style, they continue from where they left off, but it's very clear that it's their version of the story. We've seen a lot of manga do this, where every different like arc almost gets a different title. The easiest thing to do would be, hey, Berserk has ended, and we will begin writing the Berserk, the final struggle, or Berserk, the fate of the struggler, or something along these lines. And I think this will please a lot of people who don't want to see this series continue without Miura. These people will stick to the original Berserk. But for those of us who want to see the story continue and finish, well, I think this will be a really good compromise. Like, Kaiji does this all the time. I love the Kaiji manga, by the way. You should check it out. Every different arc, it has a different subtitle. Like, it's always Kaiji, but then it's something else, like Ultimate Survivor or Kaiji, the Grand Theft or whatever. And it constantly changes. Another case is Cestus, a manga that I have covered in this channel. You should totally check out my other video. And it's based on Roman gladiators. And well, the prologue of the series has a completely different title. At this point, this is the best case scenario. Worst case scenario, we don't get anything. Now, let's discuss how I think the story would conclude, or should conclude, I guess. And I've done this before with other videos of mine with Vinland Saga and other manga. And I really want to examine some of its themes and give a quick rundown of how do I think each theme would resolve, or each plot line would resolve. And one of the major plot lines is the overall world of Berserk. The idea of fate, this whole idea of the cyclical nature of history, which is not exactly cyclical. It doesn't repeat, so to speak. We know it's kind of like a spiral. Something changes. So by the end of the story, we should get to almost where we begun, where Falconia is dissolved or destroyed, and humanity enters back into this old age where you have different factions fighting for control of Midland. So yeah, I think the spiritual and the physical worlds would split again, and Fantasia would end. And now when it comes to Casca, Guts, and Griffith, well, Miura has said that he doesn't want a really sad, depressing story, or has actually thought over the years that maybe the ending shouldn't be very depressing, very sad. And I think that does make sense. I think both Guts and Casca have been through too much, really. And it wouldn't feel right if you saw them, suffer and die. Now, that doesn't mean that them dying is completely out of the picture. It could happen. Maybe even if they die, maybe their spirits get to live together, or maybe they get to experience some amazing moments together before they die. As for Griffith, I think it's pretty clear that he would pretty much lose everything again. Like, we always think of the God Hand as these like all-powerful beings, but in reality, they are still operating within causality, fate, and the idea of evil. If causality wanted Griffith to lose everything and turn to dust, that's exactly what would happen. Now, a lot of people have made this connection between Griffith and Void and whatnot. Maybe Griffith would get to live and he would replace Void. Maybe, maybe not. I'm not sure about that, really. But I would like to see an ending where Griffith isn't defeated in a battle of pure strength. Like, I wouldn't want Gus to simply overpower Griffith. Maybe he gets to show him something, and Griffith makes a realization. Something along these lines. Maybe he gets to see Falconia be destroyed through his own hands, and Guts doesn't play any role into this. And Guts is like, you caused all this. You destroyed the Band of the Hawk, then you built this, and now you destroyed this. And like, so that would be a really interesting way to end Griffith's story, have this huge downfall. And as for the other characters, I could go into detail. I think some of them will die, like maybe Cedro could die or Serpico could die. But yeah, they're cool characters. They're not that important. Their use is like to keep, Guts in check, and so that he doesn't go and murder a bunch of people. But this is a story about struggle, fate, and how to overcome it. So I could totally see a massive plot twist towards the end. Like maybe Guts totally shifting the flow of causality or something. He has been operating outside of causality to an extent. He has been operating with weird rules this whole time. He was not sacrificed, and he's been fighting this whole time. So maybe we could totally see him pull off some great feat and really destroy the God Hand. Do I think we'll see this ending? I'm not sure. But I chose to really focus on a couple of core issues, a couple of core themes: causality, fate, and our main trio, really. If you enjoyed this content, well, you may want to check out my other content as well. I've been making a lot of videos on another great seinen series called Vinland Saga. I've analyzed its themes, characters, and I'm also covering it every month. So you may want to check these videos out as well. And if you like gore and fantasy, well, I've made a ton of videos on Goblin Slayer, so there you go. Yeah, so if you guys have any idea for a future video on Berserk or something that you would want me to discuss, well, leave a comment down below and I'll consider it, right? Thank you all for your time and support. These mean a lot to me. And well, I'll see you next time, guys. How would you want this series to end? What would be the ideal ending for you guys? Until next time, fellow strugglers.